Welcome back. Workers in 21 states will be seeing a rise in their minimum wage in the new year, with pay bumps raising from cents to dollars per hour. Many of those increases going into effect today, but New York's actually began Friday. In 8 states, including New York, the increases all part of scheduled raises in order to reach a $15 minimum wage in the years to come. Now, states are also increasing rates through automatic cost of living adjustments based on inflation. The federal minimum wage stays put at $7.25. That actually hasn't moved since 2009, and despite pushes to raise the minimum wage nationwide, the minimum wage here in Hawaii still remains at just $10.10. It's actually one of the lowest among Democratic states.
And as a result, Hawaii Democrats are pushing for a change in the new year. Joining us this morning is Tyler Dos Santos Tam, chairman of Hawaii's Democratic Party. Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
For Hawaii, why is it that we have one of the lowest minimum wages when we have some of the highest costs of living?
Well, that's something that's very perplexing to the Democratic Party of Hawaii and our members, and we've been pushing the legislature year after year to raise it. And I'm hoping that 2022 is the year when we can make that happen.
And unlike other states where it's a more closely divided legislature, I mean, your party has 90% of the seats. If there was a will to do it, why hasn't it happened up in the past years?
I think it's very frustrating. Obviously, our legislators are trying to balance a number of, interests and make sure that our small businesses are also taken care of. But at the end of the day, one job should be enough. And people out there who are working hard at a job should be able to afford our cost of living here, afford rent, pay for their kids to get educated, pay for their textbooks. And you simply can't do that at $10.10 an hour.
And what do Democrats plan to do in 2022 to create that push for those higher wages?
Yeah, well, there are so many great advocacy groups that the Democratic Party of Hawaii is working with. We're hoping to create a groundswell of enthusiasm at the legislature to try to move things forward. This is a big election year in 2022. I think the public's going to be watching what our legislature does. And hopefully they respond to the needs of the public. Again, 1010 is simply not enough to make it here in Hawaii, to make ends meet and to get ahead. And that's what we want for people to be able to do, is to be able to, cover their basic costs and to be able to feel like finally they're getting ahead, especially as we get out of the pandemic.
Well, 1010, even more than that, with Hawaii, our cost of living, housing, everything else, that does seem really low. What number are you actually targeting? And also, how will cost of living increases maybe factor in the future?
So we're hoping that, we can join our fellow Democratic states and get to at least $15 an hour. Other states have also tied it to inflation. So we'll see, what happens there. At the end of the day, we need to make sure that people can cover their cost of living. Too many people are being left behind. I mean, we see, homeless on our streets. We see, families just struggling to make it. We need to get to a point where, one job, covers those basic needs. And this also means addressing affordable housing. This also means addressing, the other factors that go into cost of living. But certainly the minimum wage is a huge part of this.
And any other issues that you foresee, the legislature taking up? I know, legalization of marijuana, for example, is one that's kind of gained traction before and then fallen short. Anything that we should also keep an eye on?
Yeah, definitely. I think the state's response to Red Hill, this has been consuming the news and on a lot of people's minds. We're going to be there supporting our legislators' efforts to make sure that, the Navy does the right things. So that's one. And then looking forward to climate change is another really important one. And how do we mitigate that? How do we plan forward for that? Finally, I think affordable housing is a really key one. We need to make sure that our state is doing everything it can to help reduce the cost of living when it comes to housing and make sure it's available for people that really need it.
All right, new year and potentially some new laws. Tyler Dos Santos Tam, head of the Hawaii Democratic Party, breaking it all down for us. Happy New Year, Tyler. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Happy New Year. Mahalo.
All right, well, we'll have more stories and more coming up after the break. Your time now, 7:27. We'll be right back.